the problem lies in the design of the scheme. That is the problem. Now, so let me sort of slowly consolidate my discussion here. Now, the first, what are the major issues as a result? First, the point we have clearly mentioned is Prime Minister's Fasal Bima Yojana is not working. It is not a success. It can be called a failure because of the reasons that we have mentioned. I'm not repeating that. Now, what are the major issues? What should we take care of now? The first, what are the problems also? The first problem that when we think about crop insurance in India is that we do not have a comprehensive crop insurance scheme in India till now. By comprehensive, I mean all these Fasal Bima Yojana, etc. They are covering only yield risks or production risks of farmers. Right? So the drought, flood, etc. There is crop loss. You insure that. But there are other risks in cultivation. For example, price-related risks. What if prices fall? Is there any insurance for lower prices available for farmers? No. So you have only one part of the risks covered as part of crop insurance schemes, and a wider range of risks in agriculture are uncovered by these crop insurance schemes. So we need a comprehensive crop insurance scheme. For price fluctuations, we need things like price stabilization fund, etc., which the government is not implementing till now. That is the first problem. The second important issue, so first demand that we must make is that our crop insurance schemes must be comprehensive. It must cover all kinds of risks in agriculture and cultivation, number one. Number two is this whole issue between loanees and non-loanees. Right? Because you sort of try to implement these schemes through banks, and you ended up excluding non-loanees, there is some kind of confusion in the scheme and its implementation about the loanee farmers and non-loanee farmers. Now, earlier you kept compulsory for loanee farmers, then you included non-loanees, but that was voluntary. Now, from 2021, what has happened is loanees and non-loanees both are now voluntary. Even non-loanees are now, even loanee farmers, the bank is not supposed to cut that 5 rupees out of 100 rupees, as example that I mentioned, according to the law. But banks are still cutting. You know why? The banks are still cutting because if the does not want to be part of the crop insurance scheme, the farmer should fill up an application form in the bank saying that I want to be excluded from the scheme. But majority of farmers don't know this stipulation. As a result, they don't give this in writing, and the bank simply quietly cuts this 5 rupees. Right? Now, this is a very serious problem. So, the Standing Committee of the Parliament looked at this issue and they suggested, why are you doing this? Simplify it. You say that every farmer, if you don't say you have to give an application form to be excluded, say that you have to give an application form to be included in the scheme. That is much simpler and easier to cover all farmers who want to be included in the scheme. But again, no change has been made. The old system continues. And this whole problem of non-loanees is a black box, as we say. Black box means we don't know how many people. If you are a non-loanee farmer, you are supposed to come and register. But there is no incentive to register. How many farmers go to an insurance company's office and register? Very few people do that. How many insurance companies have a district level office for you to be able to go and register there? Very few. Right? If you have a grievance, how do you redress the grievance? Where do you go? The system is not clear. Right? Then comes even for loanee farmers. The problem is that two types of approaches are there. One, there's an area approach for etc. There's an area. So if there's a drought, everybody gets. So if there is of the normal rainfall, then everybody in that block gets insurance automatically. That is supposed to be the rule. But if there is a local event like a hailstorm or a cyclone or something which is not blocked but only in your village, half the village plot. And the farmer is supposed to individually report that incident to the insurance company. How do you have to do this reporting within 72 hours of the event. Right? And where do you go? You don't know. In 72 hours means 3-4 days. Right? Parts of that time, farmer is trying to recover from the loss, trying to set right the farm and so on. How can he go and do the reporting and so on? As a result, what happens is a lot of these lonely farmers also are excluded from the scheme. I was speaking to Vedagaru before this meeting, and he suggested one more problem, and that problem is the following: that whether claims should be paid or not is supposed to be decided by a crop cutting survey, crop cutting experiment, and that is done near the harvest season. Right? But there is a farmer who has sown crop A in the plot. There was unseasonal rain, and that whole crop was lost in 1 month, and so the farmer planted a different crop, and that is what gets reflected in the crop cutting scheme. What about the loss that the farmer incurred in the first month, where he uprooted one crop and planted a new crop? There is no evidence that he did that. Who will certify it? There is no clarity. So even lonely farmers face the problem of exclusion from these schemes. So I have mentioned two problems. I will continue with the third after the translation. The first is only we don't have a comprehensive scheme, only yield risks are covered. Second is the confusion between lonely and non-lonely farmers.